Alright, you guys saw the title, Ultimate Hole Hopper. If you don't know what hole hopping is and you're not familiar with ice fishing, first and foremost, get yourself familiarized with ice fishing. It's incredible. Second, hole hopping is exactly what it sounds like. You're going from hole to hole to try to find where the fish are biting. Now, you might be starting off your day like this and you're trying to find where the fish are before you can set up the shanty, or you might just throughout the day kind of hit a dead spot with where your shanty's at and you want to travel around, or maybe just a quick trip. Anyways, one thing you want to do is you want to pack light. You don't bring your shanty, you don't bring your heater, you don't bring that kind of stuff. So this is what I bring when I hole hop. I bring my auger, unless I've already turned the ice into Swiss cheese, then I don't need this. But I usually bring the auger. I bring my jig box. I bring my fish finder, and I bring a pole or 2 poles. My fish finder, I rigged up some PVC so I can carry 2 poles out, so that's not bad. Now, whenever I'm going hole hopping, usually if I find a good hole, usually I don't leave it. So I'm kneeling on the ice until my feet go numb or I get really, really uncomfortable. So that's a problem. Or I'm not getting any bites and I'm constantly quickly moving holes, and normally my transducer drags on the ground. I gotta just grab it all, gather it back up, and go, because I don't like the idea of leaving my stuff unattended. So we're gonna fix those problems today. We are going to build the ultimate hole hopper. We are going to make a way that I can quickly and easily have this set up and pull it around. Let's get dusty! Alright, before we really get into the whole thing, I just want to kind of warn you guys, if you've really watched my other videos, is that this video is going to have a lot more detail. I'm going to do a lot more explaining on what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And the reason that is because my other ice fishing videos, I got a lot of questions on how I did things and why. So I'm just going to try to do that. So there's not going to be, I don't plan on doing like a build montage here. I really just plan on explaining this very well so you guys can also build it. Okay, as you can see, I'm in your basic ice fishing setup. Fish finder, bucket, and the red circle on the floor is my hole, fishing pole in hand. Now, what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to figure out how long I need this thing to be. So I want to make sure that I'm as comfortable as I'm going to be when I'm on the ice. And what I did was I have my favorite pole, the pole I use the most. More importantly, it's the longest pole that I own right now. So, because once this thing is set up, you can move it back and forth over the hole. So, what you want to do is don't try to just eyeball where the jig's going to land. Take it out, play with it, feel like a real fisherman. You want to get your jig, and I drop it right on the floor, right in the hole, so I know where it's going to be. I know where that sits, I know where I sit. The fish finder's a little closer than I normally use, but it's going to be raised up off the ground, so it'll be fine. And as you can see from the tape measure on the ground, that is how I'm measuring it. This thing is going to be about 5 feet long, but that's, for me, that's where I'm comfortable. The other measurement is you want to do is see how wide you need this thing. Now, I'm probably going to keep it just beyond where my feet will normally sit, because this part will be just skis, and you'll still be able to do this, or however you like to ice fish. So that's not as important, but you just want to make sure that you're going to make it so you're comfortable, because you might be on here, hopefully, for a while. Right, so I've decided that my overall dimensions are going to be 5 feet by 28 inches wide. I could go a little bit narrower, but I'm going to go 28. First thing you need to do then to start the building process, let's get yourself a set of skis. Now, I got these, well, my buddy Ben, who you may have seen in other videos because he's amazing, and I said, hey Ben, I need some skis. So he found some at Goodwill. You get yourself a set of skis. I would definitely recommend used skis, not buying brand new. But first thing you need is a set of skis, and then take the weird goofy hardware. I don't know what this is for locking your feet in, but take that off. The design now. What I'm going to do is very simple. I'm going to take the 2 skis, I'm going to mount 2 risers. One in the back, and that's where I'm going to sit. One in the front that I'm calling my dashboard, and that's where the fish finder and any little extras will sit. So, for material wise, I'm going 28 inches wide. So I used one 1x6 and then one 2x6. Now I could have just used one 2x6 and called it good because there's enough material. But to save weight and to do a couple modifications I want to do, I don't want the thick material up front, so I used a 1x. Save yourself some money if you want. Just buy one 2x6x8. You'll be golden. So let's talk about exactly what I cut. One 1x6 at 28 inches, and that's going to be my dashboard. And you'll see why I wanted to go thinner later. Then I cut a 2x6 at 28 inches. That's going to be what I sit. Well, where my bucket sits. And then I cut the risers. Now, I figured out my risers would be 5.5 inches because two reasons. One, height-wise, it was going to be comfortable. And two, it allowed me to just make squares. Now, I wanted to make squares because I didn't want to screw through the butt end of the wood to hold it to the skis, because obviously that's just not as strong as if you actually go through the side. So this way, it's square. Everything will look fine. I cut 4 of them, obviously. 2 risers, 5.5 inches. That's what I cut. Let's assemble this bad boy. So here is your basic setup on what exactly I'm going to be doing. I have the fish finder in this bucket, and then the bucket that I sit on, and the skis. What I'm going to say is, because these skis have this taper, I think I might actually kind of cut these to match that taper so it sits flat. But that's kind of the idea. What I did is I literally sat on it, put everything back out, got the fishing pole back out, sat on it to see what actually felt comfortable. And now I'm actually going to mark on the skis where everything sits. I see your confusion here. I just took a perfectly good 2-gallon bucket, and I just cut a 4-inch section off of it, and then I bolted it right to the seat. Why? Here's why. If you're out hole hopping and you start catching fish that you want to keep, you got no place to put them. So, you take your bucket you're going to sit on, which now has no holes in it and it is a solid bucket, and you slide it right in. You put your fish that you want to keep inside. End of the day, you're ready to go. Cleaning your fish, take your bucket off. You are good to go. One thing that I did to make this, if you ever try to pull 2 buckets apart, thing I did to make this easier is I added a bunch of holes on the side, drilled a bunch of 1/2-inch holes. That allows your air to come in and out. Easy on and off, and you're good to go. Now, if you saw this little guy right here and you wondered, what is that little guy for? That little guy is for my jig box. Now, if you're going to build something like this, or do add-ons and stuff like this, one thing to keep in mind is when you are pulling this thing out, it is going to bounce around a little bit, depending on how nice the ice is that you're pulling. Keep in mind, things are going to bounce. Make things deeper, make things a little bit tighter. This will be fine. This will be fine. Alright, if you've watched my other videos, you know that I really don't ever use lock washers when I got nuts and bolts together that I don't want to come apart. I usually just tack weld them. So this case is no different. Mostly this one I don't have any lock washers that size. And if you're doing this, there is a small gap with the bucket because the bucket's got this lip on this back. If you go to really crank these bolts down to really tighten them, you actually oblong the top piece that you bucket sits into. So use these just kind of snug, and then I'm going to grind off these tops. Don't have to, but I'm going to, and then I'm going to tack weld them so they don't come loose and come off. Alright, so final moment of the project here, and we're going to attach the risers to the skis. Now on my ice fishing sled, the skis were all the same thickness all the way through, and they had a steel core. These do not, I don't know if these are downhill or cross country. My gut says cross country, but I might be wrong. But so these go pretty thin right towards the ends where I'm actually going to be attaching to. So instead of using a bolt like I did on my ice fishing sled, which I just countersunk the head into, I'm just going to simply screw these in. If later on down the road the screws pull or something, maybe I'll use some kind of two-part epoxy or something. But right now I'm just going to put 3 screws in each riser, so that's going to be a total of 12 screws. I have marked on here where they need to go to keep everything all kind of centered so it's not all crazy. So we're going to just do that. When I screw through, I'm going to try to countersink these in a little bit so they don't snag anything. So let's just do it. She is ready to rock and roll, and I need some ice because right now we're at open water. Let me just walk you through this bad boy real quick. At the back riser, I did do the one quick jig box holder here. You could do one on the other side. I chose to just kind of represent a little bit. I cut the backs of the skis off with the Sawzall. Cut them flush, didn't need them. Solid bucket, boom. There's where you can store your fish or any kind of extra gear. You kind of could call it your trunk, I guess, because as you come up, I call this the dashboard. I have these 2 holes for holding fishing poles. They are on 4-inch centers. They're 1 1/4-inch holes. So I can hold 2 poles if you wanted to. You could do some slots like I did on my sled, and you could put some more poles up there, but I just don't. Fish finder drops right into the bucket. Bolted it right to the wood just like I did on the trunk bucket. These are 1 1/4-inch PVC. I've got 2 T's, 2 elbows. This is a 15-inch. This is the 10-inch. The other side is a 15-inch. I got a 6-inch piece cut here, a couple little probably 3-4 inches here, and then a little big nipple there. That I believe is 2 inches. I did not glue them, did not screw them, just got them set in there. We'll see how if I like it. If I do like it, I'll screw them in because I never glue my PVC on these because I always want to take it apart. And this arm I'll probably will be swinging in when not in use. Attached them with a washer and a 3-inch screw, 2 of them on each side. The rope is attached here with this eye hook. I'll be getting a bigger eye hook that will run into the wood. So that is just basic setup to the front. Does not sit level. I like it. I just think it's a lot better that way. I think that gravity is going to hold it down. Come over to this side of your dashboard, and you got a cup holder. Now, one thing that I had thought about after I had already got it kind of together is if you got an LED cup holder with lights on it, and you had a quick disconnect to your fish finder, you could have a place to charge up your jigs. So yeah. All right, guys. So I cannot wait for ice this year. With this video, tell you what, if I can hit 100 subscribers, which I'm less than 20 away from, if I can hit 100 subscribers, the first chance I get, I'll make a video of this out on the ice of me actually using this, and I'll let you know if I really liked it or not. So if you have any questions about how I did this or what I did, leave them below, and if I do that video, I'll definitely answer them in that video. Thank you guys for watching. Be safe on the ice. Pick up your trash. We'll see you next time. Whoa. Whoa. Oh. Oh. Oh, guys. Check this out. I gotta subscribe. Wait. Gotta be 28 to keep it subscribed. Guess I gotta put it on the hole. By the way, that's a good way to measure your fish if you know how wide your gear is. Sorry about the corniness. We'll see you guys next time.